Unused potential will haunt you, not in a loud way, not instantly, but quietly, more and more as time goes on, until one day you wake up and you realize that you deserve to be happy. You deserve to be true to yourself. You deserve to experience the fullness of life. You're listening to the Truth and Authenticity podcast. My name is Kyle. Today we're going to be talking about unused potential and the 3 things that people regret most on their deathbed. To get right to it, I'm going to start you off with 3 questions right off the bat. What are you avoiding right now? What do you know you're capable of, but you're not doing? And what happens if you never step into it? If you take some time to actually sit and think about those 3 questions, you're going to realize how important it is to start taking action. How important it is to start creating that life that you want for yourself. See, we don't know what tomorrow might bring. We don't know how much time we have left on this earth. One might say that's exactly why I can't afford to take the risk. What I'm saying is that's exactly why you need to take action today. See, you deserve to be happy and healthy. Your friends, your family, the people that you come across on a daily basis, they deserve to experience the fullness of you, the true and authentic version of yourself, that business that you want to start, that service that you want to provide for people. There's people that are in need of what you have to offer. There's this Australian author and speaker. Her name is Bronnie Ware, and she was a palliative care nurse. She worked with many patients in the final weeks of their lives. Bronnie Ware would straight up ask her patients, "What do you regret?" What many of them said should be extremely eye-opening to us. The 3rd most common regret was not expressing themselves or their feelings. They would say things like, "I wish I had the courage to express my feelings." Not saying "I love you" when they did love the person. Not being kind to that person when they had the opportunity to compliment them. Not speaking the truth. Not speaking the truth when they had the opportunity. Not using that moment to speak life into somebody. Holding back their real identity. And they did this why? They did this because of fear. Fear of judgment. Fear of rejection. Living in a suppressed manner instead of being authentic. Number 2, working too much. Missing out on life. They say things like, "I wish I hadn't worked so hard." And what they would mean by that is working so hard to the point where they would miss time with their family. They weren't experiencing the fullness of life. They were missing birthdays, events with their children, holidays. They were prioritizing money and comfort over meaning. They were afraid of not having enough money to cover the bills. They remained stuck in the comfort of what they knew instead of taking the leap, taking the steps into uncertainty to create a life that's better. Number 1, I wish I had the courage to live life true to myself, not the life others expected of me. So the number 1 most common reason is not living true to themselves. Following the expectations of others instead of purpose. Playing it safe instead of taking risks. Ignoring what they knew they were meant to do. You can't let the expectations of others control your life. You have to take risks. Think about it. You're on your deathbed. Your grandchildren are around you. Your kids are around you. Do you want to be that person that sits there saying, "I was scared of failure. I was afraid of what other people might have thought of me if I did that"? Or do you want to be that person that says, "I still mustered up the courage to go give it a shot, even though I was scared"? Have you ever heard of Plato's Allegory of the cave? So there's a cave, and inside this cave, there's 4 people. All 4 of these people are chained up from the time they were born. From a young age, they were chained up to face the wall, and their heads were not allowed to turn to look behind them. So they could only face the wall. So since these 4 could only face the wall in front of them, this was their reality. They synchronized with the shadows. Behind them, up there behind them, there's walkways. People would walk by. Light coming down the stairs. Stuff happening. But they only could see the shadows from the time they were born until their adulthood, they could only see the shadows. So in their world, this is reality. They can't see the person next to them. They can't turn behind them. They can only see the shadows. So they synchronize with the shadows. They will come up with reasons. They'll remember the time of the day when that specific looking shadow walks by. This is their reality. And then suddenly, one of the people get turned around. They get turned around, and immediately there's a fireplace there, and the fire is burning. And they say, oh, they can't see it, right? Their eyes can't see this. This is not, they've never seen this before. Their eyes are burning. This is new to their reality. They're seeing the light for the first time. They might get scared. They might want to just close their eyes and turn back around and look back at the wall. But eventually, that one develops the courage to go up the stairs and look outside. And they look outside, and it's so bright, they run back down the stairs. They go back down into the cave. Then again, later on, they go back up. The next day, maybe, they go back up. They go outside, and it's so bright, so they can only look down. They're just looking down at their shadow. They're looking down at other people's shadows. They can only look at the reflections of themselves in the water. And then eventually, they develop the courage to look up in the sky, to look at the sun. That person is experiencing a whole new reality they've never seen before. So that one person goes back down into the cave to go see the other three. So he goes down there. He tries to explain to the other three that, they need to come too. They need to come and see this light. The other three noticed that fourth person wasn't even as engaged with the shadows. They didn't even care about what the shadows were doing anymore. This person has seen more to life. This person has expanded their vision, expanded their perception of reality. So now they know what these shadows actually are. So they're not as fine-tuned with the synchronizing of the shadows like these guys are, because they are still in this way of thinking. So when those three guys see that guy is not even on the same level as them anymore, and this is the only reality that they know, those three are going to say, well, damn, he's lost his sense of reality. Now, since they're noticed that he's lost his sense of reality, the only reality that's ever known, it's going to be so hard for them to come up with the will to turn around and see the light, to willingly turn and see the light. This is all that they know. This is reality to them. Those three guys that decided to stay facing the shadows, they are not worth any less. They're not made less worthy than the guy that got turned around and expanded his perception of reality, but just remaining in the same state, remaining the same. It's the same with avoiding your purpose. It's the same when you let fear hold you back. They chose fear. They said, he's lost his sense of reality. There's no way I'm going to turn around. Choosing to abide in fear is rejecting the kingdom of God. Though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for God is with me. His rod and his staff comfort me. The kingdom of God, the divine nature of the Creator, dwells within all of us. In order to access that divinity, we need to surrender. We need to surrender all that we know and that we think. Doing that gives us access to the kingdom. For me, that was accepting Jesus Christ. Let me explain to you what this has to do with understanding my potential. See, when I was 18 years old, I stepped foot into the church for the first time in my life. And when I was in there, everything within me wanted to leave. I did not feel like I belonged in that place, man. I'm not about to preach right now about going to church. This is just an example, okay? When I first went into the church, everything in me wanted to leave. I was filled with such negativity and hatred and anger. But I chose to stay. And I surrendered myself that night. Right after that night, I just observed myself being pulled right out of the darkness of hell that I was heading straight towards. The darkness that I knew, the darkness that I was most comfortable with. When I was exposed to the light, when I got to know Jesus, it expanded my perception of reality. Then I could actually see my own potential. But it's a choice that I made, and it's a choice that you consistently have to make. Taking action even when it's hard. Marcus Aurelius, the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. The three in the cave were afraid of abandoning what they knew. This was their reality, and in it was comfort. So choosing the fear, choosing to abide in fear will guarantee one thing. That guarantees that fear will haunt you. That's your unused potential. Ladies and gents, please don't forget to stay authentic. Hit the like button, subscribe, drop a comment if you stayed to the end. Thank you for watching.